What am I? Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya.
Nayatma Pravachen Labhyo na Medha na Bahushoten. The scriptures hold. This soul cannot be realized by mere discourse, reasoning, or hearing Shrutis. After following the first chapter, you would be feeling a curiosity to have a glimpse of the soul. After seeing which there remains nothing to be seen, this eagerness is but natural. The ties of soul and body are such that after a close and careful look, the truth becomes apparently visible. Body is made up of physical elements, but soul is subtle. Oil floats on the surface of water. Howsoever forcefully you may try to sink a piece of wood in water, it would come up because atoms of oil and wood are lighter than those of water. Flame moves upwards. The heat rises upwards. Flame of fire would always flare up. The force of gravitation and air pressure cannot stop them. The soul is lighter than body, therefore, even though so closely knitted with it, instead of mingling with the body, it has a tendency to rise up. People say that sensual pleasures attract us, but it is not a fact. Due to lack of proper opportunity and education for clear insight of truth, one has to drink the muddy water of sensual pleasures to quench the inner thirst of his senses. If one would have tasted even once the divine escasity of soul bliss, then why he would have to knock from door to door? We know that while reading these lines, you would be feeling inspired and experiencing the same happiness that a person in foreign land separated from a long time from his family feels on hearing the news of welfare of his family members. This is a strong evidence to prove that the inner desire of a person is to have a vision of his soul. While residing in the body, even then he cannot become one with it. Rather, he searches again and again for a lost thing. This is the point where he goes astray. He cannot even recall as to what he is searching for. He only remembers that he has lost something. In its absence, he suffers and fails to trace it in the wilderness of illusion. The mind is very much unstable. It does not stay at any place even for a moment. All complain about it, but they do not know why is it so. It is crying harass for its lost thing. The deer smells odor of kasturi, which is in fact in its navel. It runs here and there all day and night for it, without rest even for a moment. Similar is the condition of mind. If it could know that musk is in its navel, how much pleasure it would derive and forget restlessness. Self-realization means a seal of clarity on mental horizon of the right form of one's self, power and resources, with such deep impressions that can never be effaced throughout the entire span of life. You may be an expert in learning things by heart, like a parrot and whatever is incorporated in this book. You can definitely reproduce 10 times more with your knowledge and reasoning. You can put forth scriptural secrets, but all this can take you only to the threshold of the temple of self knowledge and not beyond. Learning by heart like a parrot cannot make one a learned person. The scriptures have clarified the position that this self realization cannot be attained by discourse, reason, or lengthy patient hearing. You have listened so much so far that can create doubt in the layman who may be better in a placed position to criticize. We have not assembled here to enter into any argument with you. If you are eager and have any aspiration for self realization, then you should come along with us. Otherwise, you should not waste your valuable time. Before climbing up the stairs of self realization, first you have to come to the ground level. You have to return from where are you now lost and have to stand on that land which is called the entrance gate. Feel that you have forgotten all your learning and have started basic education fresh in a school. Do not feel any disgrace. Your knowledge gathered so far is not false. You have read Urdu very well, but if you want to be benefited by Hindi, you will have to start with elementary alphabets. But you cannot start by reading books on philosophy. We request by patting the back of our learned scholars to trace two steps back, because by doing so they would be able to place their feet on the first step and shall be able to go upstairs easily and with speed.
You should think as to what the meaning of I is when I say so. Animals, birds, and other underdeveloped beings have no sense of I. They do experience physical pleasure and pain, but they are not capable of thinking much about themselves. The donkey does not know why it has to carry load. What is its relationship with the person loading it, and why it is made victim of injustice. It does experience pain when heavily loaded and pleasure in getting green grass because it cannot think like us. In these beings, body is its true self. Gradually, by making strides on the path of progress, man has advanced so far. Still, how many persons are there who are conversant with the form of the self? Learning by heart, like a parrot, is a different thing. Some people, after hearing the discourse about the knowledge of the soul, record it in their brain and reproduce excerpts their form. At times, there is no dearth of such people who know nothing about the soul. Their thinking power has been awakened. Their lives are limited up to eating, sleeping, fear, sex, anger, greed, lust, etc. They have acquired capability to ponder, understand, and tackle only such problems. While fools satisfy their instinct with low pursuits, other so called intellectuals try to infuse beauty in them. A laborer feels himself lucky if he travels in a bullock cart, whereas a rich man feels happy over his wisdom while traveling in a motor car. Both feel alike. The development of intellect has been in the direction of making luxury consumer article more attractive and of good quality. For the majority of civilized people of the community, the real form of man is his body alone. They go on observing the religious rituals for the mental satisfaction, but it has nothing to do with the knowledge of self. To offer dowry in marriage of a daughter is considered as religiously pious deed, but by such virtuous deeds, who could reach his goal? Oblation, yajna, austerity, knowledge form part of religious duty in the spiritual and physical world for maintaining the social order. But these cannot lead to a soul realization. Soul is so subtle that money, devotional rituals, donation, respect, etc., exterior item cannot have any approach near it. Then how through these it can be attained? The media to reach soul available within us are knowledge, fourfold internal organs, antahakaran, mind, intellect, etc. Vision of self can be had only through these. The soul pervades the body. There is no special place where some special implement can be applied to locate it. The manner in which mind and intellect are capable of beseeching the soul is the same in which their place and form can be seen while entering the psychic world. Psychic plane is also like the world of form and shape. Most of it is the shadow of this exterior world. Just now we are thinking of Calcutta, and presently we have started strolling on the Himalayas. Whatever was thought about was neither Calcutta nor the Himalayas in their form or shape, but these were the reflections on the background of the mind. Such reflections are not untrue. Without there being real form and shape of objects, there cannot be any reflection. This reflection is the mental arena cannot be understood as untrue. This is that astral consciousness with the support of which all the activity in this world is going on. A shopkeeper who wants to go to a state to make purchase first travels by mental thought process there and foresees the obstacle on the way and arranges to remove the same. High spiritual consciousness comes from the psychic world. What thoughts are cropping up in one's mind, what a person is thinking about us, in what condition a relation is, etc., can be judged 80% correctly by entering into the psychic field. These are the broad things with respect to the working of the common people. People predict the future and correctly state the past events. They have imperceptible knowledge. All waves of godly consciousness arise only in the psychic world. After receiving them, these are made known through the tongue. If these psychic faculties would not have been there, then man would have been mobile, mechanical robot, which has been invented by science in Europe and USA. The soul of this image, which is made of 10 kgs of earthen clay and 20 liters of water, and the consciousness therein establishes its relationship with the astral world, and it should be taken as psychic world. Now, our effort would be that you should enter this psychic world and with the divine eyes of intellect have the vision of the soul and experience it. This is the only path of all the aspirants of this world. The vision of truth, reality, can be had only with the help of intellect. After entering the psychic world, besides this, till today, none has been able to locate any other way. Self restraints, determination, concentration, and trance are the high steps of yoga. The spiritual aspirants and devotees perform timely sadhana, observe regularity, posture, breath, control, and various activities. Hatha yogi perform neti, dhoti, vasti, etc., and followers of other sects have their own austerities measures. These are all for removing all physical obstacles. To keep the body in sound health is considered essential so that it may not pose any problem in psychic practice. We advise our devotees to maintain good health of body and mind. In the conditions of today, we do not feel that there would be any special benefit by copying such difficult physical exercise. In the city, where there is polluted environment full of smoke, if a person is advised to follow tough breath, control, or bodily posture, it would be unfair to him. After eating dry and other fruits, drinking nectar like water of rivers, passing through various hills, and abstaining from the items for quenching the thirst of senses. Such person in sound health can perform such difficult bodily exercises. If you are asked to copy them, then we would be committing a type of sin, and those aspirants who without understanding the realities would commit suicide, like acts by involving them into adopting such difficult, cumbersome bodily exercise, like a she frog who died by offering itself for putting horseshoe in its feet after seeing the same being applied to horse feet. Ordinary rules to remain healthy are known to all. These should be strictly followed. If someone is ill, he shall take treatment from expert doctors. We shall publish a book separately for this purpose. But for this purpose, there is no need to undergo special exercises to possess such a physical capability, which can be accomplished in long time. Remain healthy, be happy. That's all and enough. Alright, let us now proceed ahead towards our goal. Search for a lonely place where there is no fear of any type or an object of attraction. Such a place is best suited and required. Though completely isolated place is no doubt ideal, but it is not always available. Even then, a place free from the movement of men and away from noise should be chosen. For this purpose, instead of changing place daily, it is proper to fix a spot. If there is no convenience of forest, mountain, river, bank, etc., one small clean room where you can concentrate should be selected. Do not sit in the manner in which your nerves are restrained. We shall not advise you to sit with chest instead steadfast position or throat full of breath, with twisted hands or feet, or placing them one over the other in a special posture, as they would cause inconvenience and pain to your body, and that would further put strain to transcend the mind again and again, and shall thus cause distraction. The body should be totally relaxed, which gives rest to all parts of the body, and every limb of the body experience peace and state of rest. To sit in this posture, an easy chair is ideal. One may do it by lying on a cot, but the head has to be kept a little raised. Big pillow, clothes tied in a bundle, or the support of the wall for sitting can be had. Whatever may be the sitting posture, it should be kept in a view that body should remain loose like cotton bundle and no care or effort is needed for its support. If in that condition a trance descends, there should be no fear of injury to the body on one side or the other. Sitting in this posture, let the body experience rest and mind attain peace. In the beginning, this practice has to be performed with some care and special effort. Later on, after some practice, the aspirant can experience peace whenever and wherever he desires and in whatsoever condition he may be. Beware, you have created this condition neither for dreaming nor for aimless flights in imaginary world, nor for the purpose that lack of control of senses start playing mischief on its own. Take care that you have to keep the watch on your state of concentration. This state has been acquired to act according to your wish for devotion to a specific purpose. Proceeding ahead, this meditating pose becomes a part of conscious state and it continues to prevail automatically forever. Then it is not to be created by concentration, rather, it awakens at times the feeling of fear, sorrow, trouble, doubt, and anxiety. Following in a natural state, the aspirant is saved from those sufferings and troubles without any effort. Now sit in the above meditative posture and concentrate all your thoughts on I. Do not think about anybody else or any other outer object. Think that the soul is an independent matter and possesses unlimited power. It is immortal and unbreakable. Consider yourself as the center, luminous like the sun. Consider that your soul is like the sun, around which
Our world is constantly revolving as the satellites do. Keeping this thought constantly in your mind with the creative power of thoughts, imagination, position yourself as the center like the sun in the mental horizon. Imagine every other matter besides the soul rotating like the satellites. These are tied to me and not I to them. I am controlling them by my power. Still, neither these objects nor I are mine. After a regular practice for some days, the consciousness shall begin firm. This thought is neither false nor imaginative. Every item of this world, whether animate or inanimate, is constantly revolving. Planets revolve around the sun, and the entire universe revolves around an invisible conscious power. Because of consciousness in the heart, blood circulates in the body. Words, energy, thoughts, or any other type of physical matter are bound to rotate and move forward. This natural phenomena is at work around us. The matter affecting us will be by nature rotate round us because we are the center of consciousness. By imbibing properly this natural consciousness in heart, you will feel a special change in yourself. It would appear that I am the center of consciousness, and my world and all physical matter related to me are revolving round me. House, clothes, ornaments, wealth, etc. related to me are not tied to me, but are distinctively separate. A person who understands himself as the center of consciousness recognizes himself as related to material world, but remains unconcerned like the leaves of lotus which remain unsustained. When he accepts himself as conscious source of power and center of light in place of considering himself as insignificant, powerless and bonded, then he gets suitable covering accordingly. When the baby grows, his short clothes are taken off. So as long as you consider yourself slighted, conceited, low and insignificant, you would get outfits accordingly. You would have to wear the garments of lust, desire, sex, flattery, selfishness, etc. But when you realize greatness of self, all these covers will be useless for you. A child does not consider the act of easing in his clothes as bad, but as he grows, he starts hating this act. Even if it happens during serious illness, he condemns himself and feels shy. Low and humiliating thoughts, animal like desire, and low dragging selfishness are such traits which are hated by a man of self consciousness. He gets virtues which suit him. Virtues like broad mindedness, enlarged thinking of heart, mercy, sympathy, truth are his suitable veil. The long tail of a baby frog vanishes as it grows young. Similarly, the evil traits of man leaves him and virtues go on growing like the tusk of an aged elephant. To experience oneself as the center of light, no amount of arguments would be helpful because our reasoning is very much faulty, lame, and blind. With the support of logic, it cannot be established that a person who is being addressed by us, our Father, is in fact our Father. Therefore, while practicing yoga in pursuit of divine glimpse, the lame logic has to be abandoned and firm faith, determination, and perfect concentration are to be adhered to. For experiencing the real vision and form of one's self, arguments and counter arguments might prove a hurdle. They have to be abandoned for a while. Trust that the author of this book is not going to tell you an incorrect, harmful technique or mislead you in an environment of doubt and suspicion. He is sure and confident and solemnly states that for the aspirants having faith in him, this is the proper path and has been personally gone through by him. Come on, follow me. You would not be pushed back. You would be led to the proper place with the help of a meditating mood and adopting the procedure narrated above. Enter the mental world. Behold yourself as a powerful luminary like the sun and think that the world is revolving round you. Keep on this practice regularly and make clear and distinct imprint of it on your mind. Achieve a state in which when you say I, then the center picture along with awareness in consciousness, thought, power and brilliance is visualized. Whenever you happen to glance at the world, it may appear revolving round your enlightened self. For instant vision of self-realization, we tell you another method. Seating yourself in the posture of meditation, chant your own name repeatedly, gradually, seriously, and with a strong willpower. With this practice, mind start concentrating on the true form of self. Lord Tennyson had awakened his self by this method. He writes, through the method we have derived some knowledge of self, learned about its reality and immortality, and have experienced the primary source of our consciousness. Some aspirants, while meditating on self, tie I wrongly with the body and form a wrong view and thus confuse themselves in concentration. This confusion and obstacle need removal. Otherwise, if this body composed of foul elements is considered as soul, it would bear little fruit of a very low order. To remove this obstruction while sitting in meditative posture, think that I am separate from the body. I use it only as a wheel or an implement. Try to understand the body like the wheel meant of covering only. Experience that I can survive even after being separated from the body. After leaving the body, imagine looking at it from an elevated place. See this bodily frame as a hollow nest from where you can retreat easily. Try to feel that I am keeping this body or cage healthy, strong, firm, and progressive. I control it and use it according to my wish. I am not body. It is my tool only. I take rest in it as in a house. Body is made of physical matter and those atoms have been attracted by me to form the desired covering. Forget the body entirely while meditating and concentrate fully on I. Then you would come to know that the soul is different from the body. After experiencing this, whenever you would say my body, you would use it with a new meaning. The meaning of the above attitude is not to ignore the body. To do so would be a cruel act. Consider the body as the pious temple of soul. Protect it fully. To keep it fit is your foremost pious duty. So long as emotional sentiment of separateness of body from soul remains in its ordinary state, it is entertaining. But as soon as it becomes firm, one experiences the feeling of lifelessness and starts visualizing those objects which one can never see with open eyes. A blurred glimpse of astral world is had at that time and some imperceptible objects or divine scenes start appearing. In this state, the aspirant becomes frightened, but they should understand that there is nothing to be afraid of. A little haste has crept up in the process, and due to previous impressions, this consciousness has received a jerk and it has awakened suddenly. To reach this stage, If practice had been regular and a little slower, there would be no element of surprise. When an aspirant attains a higher grade, he acquires the capability to raise himself above the physical plane and is able to see those objects which he is otherwise unable to see while being in the body. In that condition, the aspirant does not sever his connection with the body. A man peeps from the window of his rooms by craning his neck out to find as to what is happening outside and pulls it back as per his wish. The same thing happens in this condition. We won't advise the new aspirant to have such an experience. It would be a violation of seriality. At proper time, we shall provide instructions for them to have vision of imperceptible objects. Here, only a reference has been made so that if in a given condition someone experiences voluntarily such consciousness, then he should neither be disturbed or nor become afraid. Majority of the people accept the theory of immortality of life on the basis of people's belief. They should know that it is not fictitious, rather it is proved by a living being's own experience. After being seated in meditation, think that we are dead. This talk appears general to those aspirants who conduct themselves in the manner suggested in the last pages. This suggestion should not appear to be difficult, but when you start doing it, it would say that it is impossible to do so and it cannot be put into practice at all. You can imagine the death of the body, but you would always remember that your eye is not dead. It is looking at the dead body from a distance. In this way, you would find that in no manner you can imagine about the death of your eye. The intellect insists that the soul cannot die. It fully believes in the immortality of the soul. Howsoever one may try, it would not be prepared to discard its experience. Even after being senseless from injury or under the influence of chloroform, this eye remains fully awake. Had it not been so, then how on gaining consciousness he would know that he was unconscious for such a period? The conditions of unconsciousness and sleep can be imagined, but when the question of imagining the death of eye crops up, there is dissent all around. How pleasing it is that the soul has evidence of its immortality and indivisibility with self. Considering one's self as immortal, indivisible, indestructible, and beyond physical emotions is an essential part of the vision of the self. Without feeling this, the true confidence does not grow, and the living being slips in the background of insignificance, which has nourished for years, which renders the entire process of practice as meaningless. Therefore, have proper practice of concentration that you are indestructible. Do not proceed further without experiencing it, and even after you progress further, you should track back to have a test of the same often times. This firm faith and mental attitude will help much in the direct perception of true form of the self. Further tests are being narrated through which you may list your experience. Sitting in a meditation, detach yourself from the body and see it emerging through sky, air, fire, water and earth. Imagine that the obstacle of your body is cast away and that you have become free and that you can fly in the sky like a bird wherever you like. The velocity of the wind can neither affect your speed nor dry you up. Imagine that there is a big fire and you pass through it harmlessly and without any pain. How can fire burn the soul? Its heat has access only up to physical body. Water and earth exist in the soul just as things exist in the sky, meaning thereby that no element can touch you, not even an iota of obstruction can be caused in your freedom. This feeling not only places the soul on higher level than physical body but even beyond the five elements influencing it. The spirit feels that it is elevated not only than the body but even the five elements. When such experience enters consciousness, it would appear to you that you are reborn. New energy shall appear to be flowing through you. It would not be as if the curtain of fear has been removed like the set of worn out clothes. Instead, you would develop such a belief that those objects which made you afraid of now cannot cause any harm to you. These elements did have access only up to the body. So, with the help of knowledge and willpower, such fears can be allayed even from the body. Understanding thoroughly basic mantra of primary instruction is I. After having its full experience, you would be able to make progress in a spiritual field. You will have to experience that your existence is different from that of the body. You will have to consider yourself as a great center of power like the sun around which your world is revolving. From this, you would derive new energy, which shall be duly witnessed by your companions directly. You would admit that you are now more firm, that ups and downs of life cannot disturb you. That's not all. There is much more ahead. You would find yourself that you acquire such capabilities after developing spiritualism, which can pacify and control the strong winds of life. The self knowing would be found smiling even in face of serious adversities. With raised hands, he would tell the hardships, go away, get lost in the darkness from where you were born. Great are those who have mastered this seed mantra of I. Aspirants, now go on practice the first lesson of instructions. If you find your progress slow, do not get excited. If you slip while moving forward, do not be disappointed. When you traverse ahead, you would be doubly rewarded. Success and prosperity are for you, which you are bound to acquire. Keep on moving with practice.